after pounding the prime all season and shooting a million arrows out of it and dropping it out of a few trees, the string twisted and my peep was coming out a little crooked. Yesterday I noticed when I pulled back, it was just blocking my view. It still seemed to be shooting accurate, but that string had twisted or maybe stretched a little, and my peep wasn't on straight. And I just happened to be going past Whitetails this morning, and so I swung in, and they're really busy, but they jumped right up and helped me get that string fixed, as if it was the top priority of the other guys there that were buying equipment and stuff. So shout out to Whitetails, they're really helpful, and appreciate what they did for me. Get me on track. I'm leaving for Kansas in the morning, so I was a little worried about getting that resolved. So I'm happy I swung in. Thanks, guys. Oh yeah.
Only the bull runs from Wisconsin are the ones that drove down this road in the rain.
What did you take me down?
Well, it said gravel ends, and it still kind of looked gravelly. Look, it looks like there's gravel.
I mean, I got four-wheel drive on there, and I got brand new tires. They're completely clogged. I couldn't even stay on the road. I was sliding completely off. I couldn't even turn around.
Yeah.
I would just slide off. I don't know if we're gonna get back out of here.
I don't know. Did you bring chains?
I did not. I don't even think I got something to pull with.
I got a tow rope.
Oh, good.
Whether my tires are good enough or not, I don't know, but.
All right, we're gonna try and make her. Wash the mud off a little bit. Here we go. Oh, this is just like driving on sheer ice. Can't even steer. I tried coming up here and I just slid right off the road. No matter what I did, I couldn't stay on, and I am bottomed out in the back. We're in the middle of nowhere.
Not that far outside.
Even making it this way to the rest of the road, even if we can get out.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you're gonna get out. Your car is worse than mine.
Maybe.
It's lighter though. Oh, geez.
How much? Well,
might have to get a tractor to pull each of us to the road.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna see what I can, if I can do it.
Yeah. Okay.
But other than that, I mean, we're not too far from that one town. So, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
All right. I could maybe call somebody I know and have them see if they can come out here and get us, but I don't know what they'd use. They'd get stuck.
Yeah, I don't know if they're.
And if it's gonna rain again, it's gonna get even worse.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can figure this out. If not, we don't know if we gotta get a tow truck.
All right, see if you can get in front of me. Four-wheel drive is starting to slip now too. We got a tow truck or tow strap hooked up to it. We're hoping he doesn't go flying off when he tries pulling. See how this works. Just gonna slide right back into it. Got to this walk-in area and parked right over there. There's standing corn over there, and I looked and there's this thick little creek bottom in here. And I came in here and there's a scrape over there and some really big tracks, but it just rained and those tracks were fresh. So cornfield is about 500-600 yards that way. There's 2 cornfields on the other side of the road. There's this green alfalfa field that really looks good. There's a heavy trail coming in right here. A couple trails spider to it, coming out of this thick. That looks to be about 5 acres of just thick, nasty. This is the narrow point right here where things come together. If they're a little further out, I should be able to see them if they stay in the thick. I could see bucks going in there looking for does and coming back out. And I could see does, maybe even a good buck being bedded in there and coming out to this green field at night too. But there's all kinds of fingers going in and out of here. I'm pretty impressed by the sign. Not really the sign, but the terrain and how it's drawn together in this property. And Dave scouted this property in spring. And he said this draw down here behind me is just full of rubs. And I looked where he was going, where he saw those rubs. And that's really thin terrain. It's nothing like this. This is thick, could hold a lot of deer, especially when leaves drop, and it's got food surrounding it. And I really don't see any signs of any other hunters back here. So when I came from the truck over there. I could have came straight through the field, but I felt standing out in the middle of the field walking, any deer would pick me off. So I followed the cover and I snuck along the cover real quietly. And this is like a oxbow in this creek. So this cover goes like that. And when I got to that end over there in the oxbow, I saw the back of a deer laying in the brush. It was only 20, 25 yards from me. A little over 20. Probably not quite 25. So I pulled back the bow. It was bedded. I pulled back the bow because I could see some antler. But it was real brushy and I couldn't tell how much. And I saw the antler move, so I knew it was antler. So I pulled the bow back. And I could just kind of see parts of the deer, but if I stepped to the left, I could see the chest, and I was thinking maybe I'd be able to see the rack, and I stepped to the left. Moved a little more to the left. I got the chest in a clear view, and then the deer stood up, and I had a perfect shot as a 128, 120 class 8 pointer. Could have shot him, and he took 2 bounds and then just walked that way. All rutted up, didn't seem to care too much that I was here. But 5 minutes out of the truck and I could have shot a 120. That's better than I did in Wisconsin all season. Hey guys,
What?
I've heard about some weird people out in these areas, and I mean, really, dude, they drink Bud Light.
The weirdest part is they're Kansas. They're Kansas State fans and not KU fans. That's the
Well, that's why. Jeez.
I'll leave that one alone.
You leave that one alone while you like Bud Light?
No, opposite.
Ricky, are you wearing high heels?
See, there's something wrong with you, Dan. See, I tried to save it. I tried to save it with the K-State logo on it.
Dave came down here during spring and summer and scouted a lot of this stuff, found some spots. And he liked this area and he showed it to us. and I like it too. And you can see this tree line here. You can kind of see how the deer would be funneled, and we thought maybe there'd be some tracks. Some big tracks go right across. There's some big buck tracks and a lot of doe tracks, and it poured yesterday, so those are fresh. Here's the buck track. You can kind of see the rounded toes. See how he's impacting the ground as he's going. That's going in there this morning, right up that trail. Going that way right into the funnel, right up to the bedding. He's probably in there right now, so somebody should hunt this.
Dave's probably gonna.
Yeah, Dave's calling dibs. He scouted it in spring, so he's got dibs.
These are the biggest tracks I've seen all year.
And this is just funnels of tree lines, and it looks like there's a lot coming together up there, and the wind would be right for that. So we're gonna check that out, and what we're gonna do is not walk that bottom at all. We're gonna go way down here and go across the field and just poke in, see how it looks, and see if there's a good spot for a setup. But based on the tracks we see here, somebody should set up here on something. Somewhere in here.
When I was here in spring, I saw where the trails were coming in and out of in this one corner, and I marked a spot for
same area we want to look at?
Uh-huh.
Oh, good.
I marked a tree.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, this should be pretty good. I think based on those tracks, this should be hunted.
Yeah.
So with these buck tracks, what you can do to see if they're fresh is you just touch these to see if it's connected. After a day or so, those connect to the ground, they stick. Those are not connected. I'm thinking that's this morning. If that's sat all night, the moisture coming in and out of it makes it stick to the ground. Those are fresh. You can kind of see how you can kind of see the cut. You can see the toe imprint. I think that's this morning, early this morning. So when I look at this tree line here, we got big buck tracks going across. There's a bigger woodlot there. There's food on the other side. The food's on private, but we got this tree line here. Comes up here and it spiders up into draws that we think are bedding draws. Now Dave has a tree picked out there from spring scouting where he thinks they'd come out of those draws down into here. And it's pretty aggressive, and I think it's a good spot, especially early season. But when I look at this, what I see is I look down this thing, the wind's blowing like this. Here's a little opening right in the trees. If a guy could get in there and have his wind blowing out here, straight in like this, he's not getting near the bedding, and he can probably cover any trail that goes through there, and we know those bucks are going through there. And eventually they're gonna come through. It's just a matter of what Dave's worried about is if they come out last light, he'd be close enough. This wouldn't be. I think the deer's in there now because those tracks look like they're fresh this morning going in and they don't come back out. So I think he's in here bedded someplace up in here, which I wouldn't want to get too aggressive, and Dave rightfully so wants us to back out. So I think we know enough. We can go look at the next spot. Somebody should probably sit here.
This place was tore up with sign when I scouted it in the spring. Haven't had anything come through yet. I'm gonna stay here all day and sit it out. Don't know what's gonna happen when. The other part of challenging is you see a tree coming in the dark, and if you're off by a little, which I think I was initially, but this should work. You run into things like this. Not getting to stand in there. I'm not sure I'm picking this up with the camera, but there is a rug down here that is bright green. It looks like super fresh, so. Nothing. There's some good sign. Good follow.
6 does in the morning. That was it.
I came into this little draw. We were looking at this on a map. And it was really small, and we thought that this wouldn't draw much attention because of how small it is. But there's a little finger of cedars over there that looks like really good bedding. And there's some bedding up here, and on a map you can see some food plots and stuff up there. Like a lot of setup for deer, making me think that there's probably somebody managing deer there and probably holding a lot of deer with the food sources. There's some active crops all the way around here, which there ain't a lot around here. So we stood up on this hill over here and looked at this, and this looked tiny. But I thought if I get right into the middle of this union of creeks, every deer that came down these draws would end up here. But when I got in here, it was a little thicker than it looked like up on the hill, and a little bigger. And I jumped it over there, and it ran through here. Not hard. I jumped it real soft, and I stood still when it ran, and it just kind of bounded and then walked off. And then when I got up here, 3 or 4 more got up, and they hopped around, and they kind of looked around for me, and they came back a little and looked for me. And one of them went up the draw over there, and then a few more went that way, and they did blow once or twice, but they didn't really run. They could take a couple jumps, look around, and I had the wind in my face the whole time. I mean, you never want to kick them out of here, but it is a really good sign to see that this area was holding a bunch of does, because there's a lot more bedding fingers around here that are probably holding deer too that look better than this. But this would cause bucks to cruise through here, and I did see buck tracks in the river bottom in here that are fresh, a lot of them. Telling me there's been bucks in here since it rained, which was yesterday. And there's a pretty good rub right there that's fresh. And this is the union. It's where everything kind of comes together. I mean, there ain't much to get a shot in here, and I had to kind of get the wind going off this way. And up in here, there ain't too much of a shot, but there's a little bit on these big heavy trails here. But the main thing is if they drop down into here, they're going to give me some opportunity. I mean, but there's deer tracks and sign in here everywhere. I don't know what to make of it, but I'm going to give it my best try. And I wouldn't doubt it if a buck comes in here. It's going to be hard to get a shot, though. This is my tree. It's kind of dead, but there is a living branch or two on it. But it is in the process of dying. It's got this giant punk in here, which was hard to climb around, but I got a stick in the backside. And I'm not very high up, especially when you consider I'm standing in a creek. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's real early yet. I came in here about 1 o'clock, really snuck my way in here. Like I said, I jumped those does. I did not jump a buck. I would still expect bucks to come down here searching. And tonight might not be the night because the bucks just haven't been very active in the evenings, especially when it's bluebird like it is today and sunny. It actually warmed up a little bit. But tomorrow morning, I would expect there'll be a buck here cruising. What the bucks do in the evenings, they just kind of get up and go to where the does are, where they're feeding and stuff. And I wouldn't doubt it if they're going up this way to these private food plots and stuff. And the bucks probably just go to them. But part of me getting in here was to get a setup. Hopefully a buck comes in here cruising. They do it in the evenings too. But in the mornings, I would almost expect one to come down here. So now having a spot set up and picked out and a mapped out route into here where I could see with my eyes, I can get in here in the morning and hunt this. I think we'll do really good in the morning. Don't know for sure. Don't know what'll happen tonight. Time to climb the tree and let the games begin.
came to the same spot I was at last night. I sat here all afternoon from like 1:30 on. And I didn't see nothing after jumping those does until like the last 15 minutes. I heard a branch snap over the hill. And then I got ready. Just about the time I thought nothing was coming, a buck popped out. 2.5-year-old 8-pointer. He came down here, smelled where I walked, came in anyways. Came walking in, kind of scent trailed me to my tree, stood underneath me. I'm only like 8 feet off the ground level, a little higher up the tree because the tree's coming out of a creek, but the creek drops down about 3 feet. So I'm about 8 feet from ground level, and that deer stopped 3 yards from my tree, and then looked up at me. Didn't even seem to care, wandered away, came back. I was having problems with the lighting on the camera, couldn't get it figured out. The gain and stuff, I can't really see the buttons. It seemed a little dark, but it was still legal shooting. He went out here, was milling around a little bit, and kept looking at me. So I just stayed real still. Then I heard one walking behind me, and it sounded like it was going to get past and go through a shooting lane. So eventually I thought, I don't even care if I spook this one. That might be a big buck. So I turned and looked, and it was bigger than this one slightly, but not a monster. He went down here, saw or heard this buck, grunted a couple times, came into him. They kind of groomed each other a little bit, and then they locked horns, but by that time I'd kind of lost total light, so I turned the camera off. And for whatever reason, I think they give about 10 minutes extra legal shooting light here. I can't even shoot. I couldn't possibly shoot a deer at the end of closing time here. It's too dark, and I couldn't film one for sure, even though it's still legal hours. I kind of waited for him to leave. The buck that came from behind finally left going that way. This one walked over here, and he just stood in these cedars over here forever. And finally I thought, well, I'm just going to slip out of here before something else comes in and I get stuck here. So I slid down and got my stuff packed up. And when I walked up the hill here, I didn't get 10 yards. And I came face to face with another buck about a similar size coming down in. So 3 bucks in the last 15 minutes of daylight, probably because of all those does in here. Hope I didn't booger the does up too bad, but we're a half an hour into legal light, and none of them have come in here yet. We'll see. I still think bucks are going to cruise through here in the morning looking for those does. I'm hoping. Well, kind of surprised, but not a single deer came through here this morning. And I do want to get some scouting in. That's the trouble with this. You'd like to just sit all day, but you've got to get some scouting in if you want to keep getting on fresh, hot spots. And Ricky's kind of sitting in nothing. Want to help him out. They're real small, but you know, this area, I know there's some big bucks in it. And if there is, and if they're actively seeking does, which is a little early, but they should be any day now, they'd have to run up and down all these draws sooner or later. And some of this, despite the philosophy of moving around, sometimes one of these funnels, the best thing might be to just sit tight. You know, I know does were in here when I came in here. I kicked them out. They didn't come back to bed this morning. But if they bed here on a regular basis, sooner or later, Mr. Big's going to come looking for them. He's going to think they're in here. He's going to think they might be. And he's going to come knocking on their door. And if you're here at that time, and actually there's a good chance he never comes in here at night and smells you are here, because when's he going to come here looking for the does? When they're here, which is in daylight, when they're bedded. So a guy could probably hunt in here a few different times. That's a pretty big rub.
Yeah, all up and there's another one.
Oh yeah. So this has been all the way up and down this tree line.
Yep.
And it looks like there's some oaks over there. Maybe they'll feed out of the stick stuff this way. See, there's a really good, like, it's a draw coming into a river bottom. We hunted the other side and saw nothing, but there's big tracks and sign over there. But there's a trail camera and stuff. And there's a lot of deer sign, and we didn't see nothing over there in a morning and an evening sit. Right. So I'm thinking they're over here, and they might be coming this way. And the wind's coming good for them coming this way. So we're going to take a look at down here where this junction is, but try to stay out of that because that's where I think they are. Perfect. Look at this track, Ricky. You fit your whole freaking hand in there, and look at how rounded the toes are and how big the toes are. That's a mature buck. Yeah. That's a big boy. Here's one that's, you really see it. And this one too. That is a giant.
And those were made in the last 2 days.
These are probably the biggest tracks I've seen this year. Look right here. That is a giant.
Almost looks like a cow.
That's a big buck, dude. So you got the wind blowing this way, so we don't really want to stand on that trail. Let's go over here a little bit. It would be nice to be able to hit the field, but I don't know if there's any trees close enough to that field that are big enough. Unless you got over there, but then you're losing where we just walked. I would think right in here someplace on this side of the trail. Either that or we move in a little closer. But this isn't that big of an area. Oh, there's a big rub right there. Look how high that is. That's him for sure. See it?
Yes, I do.
That is a very high rub. So that could be coming right through there too. So it gets kind of a little dicey about where to set up. I think a guy has to be like right here. That tree right there I think is good with this wind.
Yeah,
see this tree right here?
Yeah, there's one on the other side of the trail, but so is that one though.
Well, I'm just saying that covers this trail, it covers that trail, and the wind's blowing like this, so it'd be good either way.
Yeah.
So you could shoot anything, but you'd have to be high enough to blend in because otherwise he's going to see you. So that's a 5-stick tree.
Heck yeah. Probably get up there to the bend at least.
Yes. And then you got to wire an arrow through these little treetops. I don't think it's that big of a deal though. He's going to come in on a mission. I mean, good chance he don't show up. This is one of those ones where you're most likely not going to see anything.
Right.
But there's a buck in here worthy of going after. I bet you that thing's an absolute giant. That's the biggest track I've seen all year. And I've been on some big bugs.
Reminded me of your bear story, Hell's Bells.
Hell's
I
Bells.
should play Hell's Bells.
There you go.
Big buck will come in.
Yeah, that's the tree, dude.
It's a 5-sticker with an 8er. That should work. Alright, I'm in my stand. There's the edge of the field where I walked in. Multiple oaks in here, big ones. Basically a pinch point right here that we can walk through. The wind is in my face. I can see at least 100 yards into there. So I'll be able to see them coming. Big animal. I've never seen a hoof that big. Go big or go home. Hang tight. Let's see if I can win the lottery. I did see one small little buck. No monster. Well, thought I saw a monster. Crossed the way about 100 yards. Put the binoculars up, big body. Looking. All of a sudden it puts its head up and it's a cow.
I came in this side and there's some real big tracks back here chasing does around the field, and a lot of the tracks aim towards this corner of this cornfield. I almost turned around and went on the other side because there's a nice little woods over there and there's a pretty deep canal from the cross. But when I got to here and I looked at the map, this goes around the corner here and goes into some thick cover. And right here there's a massive scrape that's fresh used and a couple of old scrapes that have been used recently. There's another scrape over there. Seems to me that there's something happening in this corner, and the wind is perfect for this corner. So I'm probably just gonna set up right here. I'm running out of time. And see if anything pops out in here. There's a lot of decent deer tracks and sign in here though. So I guess we'll see what happens. So here's the cornfield with all the big tracks in it, and the scrapes are right here. I picked this tree right here, 3 sticks up. Stands not very high, but if I fell backwards, I'd fall like 60 or 70 feet. And it looks like the deer might be coming out of here. And there's a private land corner that goes like this. And but the deer come from the public, cutting the corner here. There's scrapes all along here. And they could go through there too. But it looks like this is where they cross. I mean, I can see skid marks from deer going down the hill there and crossing where it's somewhat level. But they may have a crossing over there too, because it kind of looks like they might go through there too. But either way, the wind's blowing this way. But anything that gets out in the field, it's going to smell me because it's blowing right across the field. But there was a lot of chasing tracks, big tracks chasing does all over in there. So I think there's does going in there and the bucks are coming looking for them. One thing I want to point out is when I walked along here, there's a scrape over there. I don't know if you see it way over there. That is from yesterday. It's just starting to get dry, but it's pretty new. It hasn't been rained in. There's one over there that's been rained in. It's been there a while. Probably, the leaves aren't in it though, so probably like a week. There's this one. It's been rained in, but there's no leaves in it. You still see the tracks pretty good. Looks like, probably the day before it rained. There's one here that's like a little bit dry, but it's real fresh tracks in it. Last night, I'd say. And this one is about the day it rained. It doesn't look like it was rained in, but maybe a little. But it's not yesterday's, right? And then there's one over here, right there, in the grass. That's brand new. I mean, it still stinks. It's got fresh dirt. It's kind of wet. So I don't know exactly where those deer are going to come from. I just know that all the tracks I've seen out here, the big buck tracks, stuff come and go from this corner as I went across. And I came in here as quiet as possible. I didn't walk over to that one, but you can smell it. It stinks. This peninsula goes between this drainage and the river, but there's a lot of traffic on it. There must be a crossing over there somewhere onto it. There's probably also some bedding on it. I got the wind perfect for me. This scrape makes it seem to me those deer are coming right in like this, coming out, and the tracks kind of show that too. But I did notice on this other side, there's some skid marks from deer going down that hill. And then there's a not so steep spot. I can't really see tracks, but it looks like pretty hard ground down there. They could get a drink and they could come up, right up through here. And I can see some tracks. I don't know. But the only worry about that is my thermals, if they start dropping. But as of right now, everything's going out into this field. There's actually a little bit of a breeze. I'm hoping they don't go up here and cross further up, because if they come in over here, I got no shot till they're downwind. I'd really be pushing at the snake and arrow through this stuff. But the wind's blowing right through here like this.
So last night, that buck wouldn't leave. It got darker and darker, and I lost camera light. It was still legal hunting. He stayed around. He was rubbing trees. He was making scrapes. Finally, I had to get down, and I lowered my bow. I took my camera off. I took my camera arm off. He came walking over, looked at me some more. I threw my stand on the ground. You know, it was only 3 sticks up. Climbed down, pulled my sticks down, set my stand together. The whole time that deer walked around by me, making scrapes, rubbing trees, and when I walked out, I walked right past him 10 feet from him, and he paid no attention to me. They sure don't have deer like that in Wisconsin, I'll tell you. Not even 1.5-year-old bucks. Kind of interesting the way they react down here. I don't think they see many people. They don't seem to care about them. I don't know why they're so different. So today it is supposed to rain all day and rain hard. So what we're doing is we've packed up and we're heading to the very northwest end of our units, because that's going to get the lightest rain. It's going to be on the edge of the rain. We might be able to find a spot to hunt out of the rain where we can still film and stuff. No bucks down there.
Yeah, but that is sure is ugly.
Hey, we could just live down there. We don't have to get a motel room. You know, when we get into these like big properties that got little swamps, they got bigger areas, they got better funnels and stuff that are obvious, we keep running into guys. This is another one of those little hidden ones that I think might be good. What we're doing here is this walk-in has a series of ravines. Up there's some really nice cover. The kind of stuff a guy'd like to jump into, but I think if you jumped into that, you'd blow everything out. Over there on the private, there's some more of that good cover. But right here, there's a creek going through. It's really narrow. We found the thinnest spot we can get to going parallel to it without walking anything in there.
Wind coming in our face.
The wind in our face, wind to nose, straight in. And we're gonna get in that narrow section, see if there's sign without walking back and forth. And then any deer going from that area with all the fingers and draws and stuff, going to that area with all the fingers and draws, has to come through this. These bucks are just in these draws like this, and you got to kind of look for these narrow spots, and you kind of got to not booger them. It's kind of a different type of hunting than we're used to.
Yep, which is why with all these little walk-in areas, I thought it was kind of cool.
A gourd?
I'm hungry.
Looks like
It
worms.
looks a little fibrous.
Okay, good.
He's gonna get fiber from that.
Let's go.
When we got done, we had 3 spots picked out. The first spot was a lot of young buck sign, but I thought it had potential. The second spot was a little better by a Milo field, that there's some big buck sign. It's kind of a little iffy about exactly where the buck should be coming through. And then the last spot was a pretty good spot that had real good bedding on 2 sides and a tight funnel in between. And we got down in there, and there was some good sign right at the stand. You could see exactly how the deer were coming through there. At that point, they wanted to go scout some more properties and stuff, and I'm like, it's 2 o'clock. I want to be in a freaking tree. So I was like, I'll just sit here. And then Ricky was like, I don't know. I can go back to the Milo spot. I don't have much confidence, or I can look around and find a spot. And I was like, dude, I think that Milo spot is a pretty good spot. I said, if you want this spot, you sit here. So he's sitting over there. I went back to the Milo spot. I think his spot is better, but if he comes in here with no confidence, he ain't killing nothing. I was climbing the tree, and I was halfway up with a stick in my hand when I heard the brush going crazy, and I heard some grunting, and a doe came running out of that stuff over there towards me, saw me, turned around, ran back in, and I couldn't see the buck. All I saw was the tail. Could have been a 1.5-year-old, could have been a monster. I got a bad wind. The wind is blowing this way, but it's also swirling around in this corner and these trees, and there's a really good trail coming from that way. But there's timber all along here, and it kind of funnels right through here in a tight spot. You can kind of see in the background there's grass out there. As this river takes a turn, I would imagine they come across there through here. If they come on this side of that deadfall, they have to come within 20 yards if they come through here. If they come away on the other side of the deadfall, they're 50 yards away. The deer that was coming out here was coming right into here. There's a lot of sign in the milo field behind us, and this tree line over here, coming back here, has a lot of big rubs on it. A lot of small ones too, but a lot of rubs. But this is a pretty tight funnel here. There's also a good tree line right here that is really, really thick. Purposely I avoided that, stayed on the other side. But that really thick funnel of trees that could very well have bedding, probably does. Goes all the way to the road, and on the other side of the road, goes on to private. There's a huge area that could be bedding on private. So this is kind of a union of everything, which is what you look for in this Kansas stuff where it's just open terrain. You know, does are really paranoid this time of the year, but she never got downwind of me, and she never saw me, and she never walked where I walked. I think I know what she busted me on. She was staring at my truck. I probably should have parked the other side of the tree line. My truck is about 400 or 500 yards from here on the road here. Let's see if you can see it. Sure, she was looking at my truck. She didn't like that. I should have pulled up another 100 yards and I would have been behind the tree line. Because she was going to go feed into Milo. It's nice to have live bait. I don't know if a buck will care that much. But that was an eye-opener. That a stopped truck on the road where people don't normally park. There's not a parking spot there. Bothered her. I don't know, she came sneaking in pretty sneaky too. She was paranoid. So I don't know, maybe they're being followed. We'll see if something else comes out. She could have saw me come in here too, because she came out of the tree line right here. That really thick stuff, I kind of avoided it. But if you're in there, you'd see me come down that tree line. She was certainly bothered by something. Interesting night. Back at my truck now. A lot of deer moving. That last doe in, I don't know if you can see it on film, I'll know when I look closer, but the hair on its butt was wrinkled, telling me that a buck either mounted it or tried to.
which means it might have been the one that came in with the buck grunting behind it when I first got there. Matter of fact, I'm kind of sure of it because of those marks on its butt and because of how paranoid she was, you know, looking around all the time and such. And
this day's a little weird. We're just hunting a very different part than what we had been to try and skirt what looked like the weather radar. I think we might do okay. Ricky, I think we scouted a bunch of places. Ricky's in a really killer spot. Dan's in a good spot. I'm winging it. We saw a whole bunch of properties. Some where we weren't as confident in. Some of them that look good have cattle all over them. That's just the way it is here on some of these walk-in properties at Kansas. I mean, and if cattle are on them, you might as well forget about it because, especially if they're either on it or had just been on it, it's like taking a bulldozer everything and a bulldozer that poops. So I'm at this one spot, public area. Looks like good terrain, and apparently it has been for somebody. That looks like this morning or very recently. I'm not seeing sign. I have zero confidence. But I'm less than optimal when it comes to this stuff, so we'll see. I mean, look at this. A lot of this is just wide open hardwoods. They're oaks, right? Which is wonderful, but probably the acorns, I'm sure, are all played out, plus there's a ton of them. I mean, I would never want to hunt here. So I gotta find something else. What is that thing? I meant to collect water? I don't know what the hell that is. Okay, I am set up in a place that I have zero confidence in, and I'm gonna be whiny. A lot of the places I hunt in Wisconsin have a little some oaks, a little bit of high ground, and river bottoms. And look what I've got here. River bottom, some ag, some oaks, some cedars. I came to Kansas not to hunt Wisconsin, but there were limited options. I chose a public spot instead of a walk-in, and it's done terrible things for my mood. So I have zero expectations of anything. There's some trails in the grass, but big deal. Who knows when they were made? Hardly any fresh sign. Not a happy camper. Couple things. One, who knows if anything else will happen. Two, it was entertaining. Three, I'm not exactly in the right spot, but this is a place that I'm not going to put any more time in. However, that buck wasn't a shooter, and what I'm hoping instead, A, there might be something bigger around, but B, that things things are really starting to heat up in terms of chasing and aggressive rut activity. Haven't really seen any of that to this point. It's always cool when it happens, and unpredictable, and just kind of fun. So we'll see how the other boys do tonight. Yes, I generally wear a face mask. Yes, you can kill deer without face masks. You do you. I'll do me. Another doe came out and was feeding in the grass. Not sure how well you can see it, but she actually bedded down and was just chilling out until that doe that was getting chased went all in tail behind her. Not running panicked, but definitely fast trot. And she whipped her head around and was watching it, and then decided to move back that way. Don't know why. My wind should be good. I just think it's getting a little crazy, and with all the activity, it's going to be even more unpredictable. There are these sets of willows, as you can see in the background, and right, this tree's blocking it a little bit, but there's a break that they're coming in and out, a little bit of a willow funnel, if you will, more to the left. I can see behind it, and it looks like they're running a strip in there. But again, without intel, it's hard to predict that, and I didn't want to go further because I didn't know they were bedding, where they were bedding. I suspected they were bedding toward the tip of this, which is by the river, but I don't know where. I thought they might have been bedding in and around behind those willows from where I was, where I am, I should say. So I didn't really want to. Here we go again. Here we go again. She's bouncing all over. The doe has lost her marbles. She's running, but I don't know what she's running from. Alright, there's way more chasing going on. And again, I'm not 100% sure if it's chasing or some doe just has the zoomies. But they're really tearing it up back in here. Just back and forth around this light circle within me. Oh, here's another one. And again, it's hard to see through all this. I don't have a great view of a viewfinder either. They're just kind of slowly filtering around. buck. The doe beat it up the hill. She took off and now he's trying to locate her. He lost her. He's completely rut drunk. I think my wind is blowing that way. He doesn't care. He's just looking for her. She went to the left. He's grunting his fool head off. If I couldn't see the sizable rag, I was not gonna grunt at him. There goes another one. Maybe I'll grunt just for grunts. Well, no, I'm gonna hold off. Might have something near me. Doesn't really matter. It's dark. Time to get out of the swamp. Again, I guess the objective here is to kill a big buck. Didn't get that done, and I don't really want to do it in a swamp that feels kind of more like home anyway, so came for a different experience, so won't be back to one of these swampy areas again. I got other things to accomplish, so.
Kansas hunt seems a little funny. I just had that truck drive by me. There's a dirt road right there where that white sign is. That's probably 120 yards from me. But literally hardly anybody uses it, just farmers like him. He was, he'd seen me in the tree and he stopped right there and he's waving at me. It's probably his property. This is one of those walk-in areas. There's a really good thick area back in here, a couple of them. They look like bedding. There's a draw system that goes up to here, up in here, with some good fingers on it. And above that, there's some cut corn. There's some cut corn over there. And there's a draw system right up there. There's a big, thick bedding type area here. And when we drove around, there's a few big tracks coming in and out way on the end by a green field, but a lot of them coming in and out over here and up in there. And when I got to this point, it just seemed like a nice narrow spot where I can see both sides, where the deer would come by really close. And I came through like this and came straight down. That tree there has got a rub on it. That tree right there is thrashed. And there's a tree rubbed and broken off over there. That pine tree's got a little bit of rubbing on it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's not quite through the bark, but you can see it's been rubbed. And good trail systems. And when I got to this tree, I can kind of hit everything here. The only thing I really had an issue with is I was going to set up in this tree because it looked like a better tree. And I got there and looked at it and thought I couldn't shoot much on the other side of that river. So I kind of took that branch there. I don't know if you see it at the base of the tree by the cedar. And I just touched the back end of it, and I laid it on the deer trail so the deer that come around don't smell where I stood. I only touched the back end of it, so that hopefully when they come around they step out if they go on that trail. But a lot of the sign is on, there's trails everywhere in here. They follow these systems up and down looking for the does, and they smell the bottoms of these draws to see if there's any does walking. Now from here, I got a good shot over here. I can see a cut trail going down right there, and there's a rub on it. I can see a fresh rub right on it, and I can see fresh tracks on it going right up the river, the dry river bed. I can see a trail up there, a couple trails that meet right there, and I can see a rub on that branch sticking out of that tree, a horizontal rub.
I can see some more trails up there that are out of range, or at the very least at the end of my range. Every deer that's in the system, if it runs this system up and down, has to go through this little funnel. You feel like an idiot when trucks drive by you and wave, but it is what it is. I don't have a huge amount of confidence. I mean, there's not a ton of deer sign, but there is big buck sign, and there is big buck tracks around here. I think the odds of seeing a big buck are pretty high. The odds of seeing deer are low. And what I mean by that is, you know, it could take a few days or something to see a big buck, but you might not see much of anything else in between. We'll see how that goes. But if you're going to hunt Kansas, you don't want to walk up and down these draws. You want to come into them horizontal, find a narrow pinch between the crap, and just sit. Hard for me to sit in a spot forever. You just start losing confidence. But most of the guys that are successful out here just sit morning to night during the rut in these type of spots, because these bucks are going to sneak along these areas here to get to the next bedding, to check on the next does. And it's kind of relative there to being does in a spot. I see some doe tracks, but not a ton. So, but we're going to sit here for the rest of the day, and it's, you know, just late morning now. I'm only 4 sticks up, you know, but I come right up off of the riverbed, and straight down is probably 25 feet to the bottom of that river. Couple hunters there just pulled up. My truck's a quarter mile down the road from theirs. They plan on coming down in here and hunting, obviously. There's 2 guys in the truck. One of them's probably going to walk this way. They have to know I'm in here somewhere. My truck's parked over there. Dave's parked on the other side. They're going through bins right now, and they're wearing camouflage, getting stuff out. So, sure, they're coming down here. It will stop one-way movement, but it is what it is. That's public land hunting. Right there.
I am back where Dave was the second day he was hunting. He saw some does here. We all decided to go to spots where we saw does because we saw chasing yesterday. So I think that might work. Hopefully we got a buck following these does. Well, this is fun. Had a guy just set up about 150 yards over there. About a half hour ago. And about 5 minutes ago, he must have a friend that walked way on the far side of the green. Because I saw a doe and a fawn get kicked up and run all the way up the line there. Great. I was up in my tree for probably a good hour, and then this another guy came in to the north of me, and about 130, 140 yards, and he set up there. I didn't feel like getting down and going somewhere else. It just take too much time. But anyways, probably about 4:50, I hear him grunting. Yes, I heard the guy grunted, and like 5 seconds later, the big ass buck jumps out probably 40 yards in front of me.
What is the big ass buck? Does he have a giant butt, or did he have antlers?
Yeah, he has like a giant butt. What are you talking about, Ricky?
His antlers. Probably, I don't know, he had to be at least a 21, 22 inch spread. Big bases. He had palmation in up to his tines. It was just ginormous. I have never seen something with my own eyes in the woods that big. So it was, that guy basically, when he grunted, he scared him, and he came running out. I think he would have came my way to get at least 35, 40 yard shot. But that guy obviously was grunting because he was out of his range, and it's pretty frustrating.
Yeah, I was on guys too, so.
Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't have any by me, but yeah, you did. And it's crazy because this property that Rick was on, what, maybe 100 acres? I mean, it's not that
And
big.
there's 3 guys on it.
And
Three guys,
on it.
2 more guys posted in here.
There was a lot of sign though. When we looked at it, there's really big tracks. I like this property.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's on a, this is a gravel road, but it's a main road for out here.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine anybody that drove down here and saw those tracks is going to want to go in there.
Yeah.
And if we haven't been in here in what, 2 days?
Something like that.
Yeah. And since we've been here, the weekends come and people have come in, and other people have come down here, and they might have been in here yesterday, and maybe they've seen the buck. And I mean,
Yeah. Well, yesterday, yeah, we weren't going to come in yesterday because we, although this one probably could have worked, but everything to the east, kind of where we were staying, was just getting hammered with rain.
Yeah.
So we went west.
Anyways, when he got down, he started howling like a coyote when he was breaking down.
Scaring the deer away.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's what you want to do. You want to scare the piss out of them so that they never come back. I don't know why people want to scare deer off and make like coyote noises. They're more afraid of coyotes than they are people.
But you know what? Here's the other thing though. When I was at that spot last night, I was watching the does in the alfalfa field behind me, and coyotes are all over the place. The does didn't even pick their heads up.
I don't know, the one by me last night, a coyote hauled and went like this and looked and stared that direction, then went back to eat.
Yeah. The ones by me, they just didn't even blink. They didn't even budge.
Then after the buck ran away out of my life, I saw a doe out in the green, alfalfa. I think it's alfalfa.
Yeah.
She busted me. I think I got that on camera. And then I saw 4 more doe across the way.
The spot where Ricky was hunting was the same spot that Dave had hunted earlier and saw those does. So we thought it'd be a good spot for Ricky to go in and hunt. And probably get on that buck that we saw the tracks from. And I remember when Dave was telling Ricky about the spot and how to go in there, I remember him telling him where to park. Well, I don't know if that went over Ricky's head or whatever, but he went in there and he kind of hit his truck. And I hear that a lot from people about hiding their vehicle, not wanting to let anybody know where they're hunting. And I always wonder about that because, unless you're Miles Keller or something, I don't think anybody really cares that you're in there hunting. They don't want to get their hunt interrupted, and they don't want to hunt spots where other people hunt. And in Kansas, the properties might be, 150, 200 acres, but really it's open fields with a ditch line. So there's only room for one person on a property, and if you're working as a team, maybe 2 together. But what you do is you park your vehicle right in front of the property so everybody knows you're in there. If they beat you there, you just go by. I don't want to hunt up a spot that somebody's in,
and I don't want somebody else to hunt a spot that I'm in. So if there's somebody there when I get there, I leave, I go to another spot. Well, Ricky kind of hit his truck. So you can't blame the guy that came in and set up next to him. He had no idea that Ricky was there. I hope you enjoyed part 1. It's going to get even better in part 2. So stay tuned.